So we are joined by Andrew Santamaria. So the first of all I want to ask you is, who are you and why did you choose Kick?
Who am I? I'm a guy that has always really loved pop culture and the latest media trends. But I think first and foremost, I'm a husband. I'm a dad to two awesome kids. I got a 19-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter. I love to write. I like to come up with different ideas and concepts and um, yeah, that's kind of. I love the woods. I love being outside when I unplug here. I enjoy going out and just hanging out. As far as like why I chose Kick, I think Kick kind of found me. Um, I had worked for a long time in the live streaming space, whether it was through esports with E League over at Turner Studios. Had a good run with Adult Swim over there with a project called Super Deluxe that eventually turned into AdultSwim.com. I worked for Intel for a very long time, helping out with their volumetric production technology, um, which created a complete alternate reality that was not there. Um, so this space always intrigued me, like live. Whether it was live VOD or live streaming or creating a reality in real time. The live component always fascinated me. I worked at Amazon for about 3 years. I worked, man, first it was Twitch Prime, whoever remembers that, and then it was Prime Gaming, and then it was Amazon Games, and then MGM merged. Amazon acquired MGM, and then it became Amazon Entertainment. So I was in a lot of different iterations at Amazon within the live streaming space, and I don't know, just always thought that live streaming was an untapped technology or an untapped medium that creators couldn't really ever um, grow from. And I was always kind of, I don't want to say a black sheep over there, but just I was always raising my hand, being like, why can't we do it this way or that way, and allow the technology to kind of evolve and let the content evolve. But anyway, started hearing rumblings about Kick, about I was familiar with EasyGo and Stake because they did a lot of business with Amazon and Twitch. Um, just heard a lot of rumblings, started doing a little digging, and then eventually connected with Eddie. We swapped a lot of ideas, and then I made the move. It just felt right at the time. It was kind of career suicide. It was bonkers to even consider leaving a place like Amazon or Twitch because it's an industry leader. The other thing is that I found a groove. Whether or not I was the black sheep or not, I found a groove there because my ideas were warranted. The average lifespan of an Amazonian is like a year, and I managed to last 3. So um, I felt it was just time to be listened to, and I think I found that at Kick. But thank you for the question, man. I really appreciate it. Usually it's folks come in and swinging, so I appreciate that question.
Yeah, because like a lot of people see you live streaming, but they don't know like your back history or like why you chose this company, you know? You could have worked for so many companies. So like, I'm kind of interested in that. Then I want to move on to the update that's coming to Kick. Do you have a specific date when the update's going to come?
We do not have a specific date, and in fact, Eddie talked about it in his last live stream this past weekend. He might talk about it this weekend. It's actually going to be tomorrow. He does a stream every 10:30 in the morning on Saturdays East Coast time. But we're well aware that there is a Q2 self-imposed kind of deadline that we set. And Eddie talked about it in his stream, saying that we're pushing that back a little. As far as a date, We didn't give a date. What we're doing right now is we're just quality checking everything. The UI, the new UI looks beautiful. The new mobile app looks beautiful. Our beta testers were very excited about it. And then our TV app looks amazing. I think we're putting on a lot of the finishing touches. I think just to touch on something that Eddie said in his broadcast was, we're building it properly from the bottom up. Kick came out crazy fast. I mean, crazy fast. I mean, I think at one point there was 10 million users within like the first 2.5, 3 months, and there was legitimately like 6 of us trying to monitor the site. It just took off like crazy fast, and we had to scale fast. With all that said, we looked back at the foundation we built, and we realized that we needed to take our time, lay out the foundation again, and that's what has been happening the last 6 to 9 months, arguably. And we got to do a better job of communicating those things, and I think that that's why Eddie started up the weekly stream that he does on every Saturday.
Did you see YRG, Your Age Gaming? He made this statement. He said, I've not seen a change in kick in over a year.
Yeah, I mean, we feel everyone's frustrations. Eddie commented on that this past Saturday. He's commented on it before. He's taken to Twitter about it. I've taken to Twitter about it. All I can say is it's going to be worth the wait. These things, all the cliches, right? Like these things don't come out of a box. Your Rage is a big talent on Kick, so we do not take that lightly. We are also in constant communication with him. He has direct access to us, but we do have to push back and make sure that we're quality checking all of this. Now, to say that we haven't pushed anything out, I don't know that it's entirely true. I think you might be talking around the tech sector, but I think we've made incredible strides in our moderation, incredible strides in protecting communities, getting better about our detect and remove efforts. So yeah, he's completely not wrong, but he's not completely not right either. This stuff just takes time. But what I do empathize with is the frustration, because I have those frustrations also.
Yeah, I mean, if we could get those kicks or those channel points, it would work so well because not everyone has that $5 to drop on a sub.
Listen, I couldn't agree with you more. There is a lot of back-end infrastructure in creating kind of your own inline currency for that. Meaning that if if you bust up $5 into 500 units, you have to create your own tickets and tokens, so to speak, to disperse around the platform. That you got to integrate while you're still building. I also want to make it completely clear, I am not the head of product, right? So I'm
Mm.
kind of talking, as a bystander. I 100% am. Polly squarely owns all of this, but I do appreciate the complexity that it takes to launch something as simple as kicks. On the back end, look, we have to work with Stripe to make sure that there's security measures put in place for those type of microtransactions, and that takes time as well. It is on the roadmap, though. I want to make that absolutely clear. Kicks we understand how important that is. We understand that not everyone has $5 to donate. We also understand that there's a lot of great creators that make a great living off of bits and soon to
Mm.
come kicks.
And you can use it like a moving currency, so it's good. Then let's look at KCIP. Okay, I've got just two big questions in it. The first one would be, why did Eddie say that Kick wants to change and move away from looking at the stats?
Um, I think Eddie is a guy that just does it different, man. Um, Going back to your original question, why did I come to Kick? He's just not carbon copy, man. Kick is not meant to be carbon copy. It isn't. God, how do I put this? Like, yes, we came into KCIP doing it like everyone else did, right? All right, Twitch has metrics, YouTube has metrics, TikTok has metrics, all these people have metrics. It's kind of like, well, is there a better way to do it, right? Metrics has its merits, and I'm astonished that I'm at a company that's able to look at it differently, right? Like, is this breeding the kind of community and environment that we want? Are we overlooking people? Are other platforms overlooking people, right? And is there a better way to do this? And what are our intentions? Eddie has stated his intentions are clear. We want to promote the good content. We want to get behind that. We don't look. There's far and few between people who can just hit go live and play Call of Duty all day, right? Like, I'll gas up people like Loser Fruit, or I'll gas up people like Panda Skills. That's rare, that's rare. And other people see that happening and they think that that's like the staple. But like, how do we evolve that? We want to push people to evolve something as simple as hitting go live and playing a shooter. It doesn't mean that there has to be outrageous and things of that nature. It's just like, how do you really hone in on your craft and pay attention to how you're talking to the audience, how you're delivering things, what you're bringing to the table, really critically thinking about yourself as a creator. And we just think that metrics doesn't always yield the people who want to do that. I'll give you a light example. There's a guy named Shock who just
Yeah, I
came on
know
to
him.
kick and just said, yeah, he just said kick a million times. It's like, who does that, right? I think he did it twice. But he's infectious and he's funny and he's got delivery and he's got timing and he also broadcasts outside of a completely different part of the world. And I'm just using him as a very small example of someone who can get easily looked because of the metrics, but is producing really funny content. And why not fast track that, right? If
Mm.
you find someone who's got the Kai Cenat chops, or if you find someone that's got the chops of a sushi dragon, or who's doing it different, why not highlight that? Why aren't you going to give them a second look just because they're not hitting the metrics? And it's something our team feature does for the front page quite well. And one thing I just want to add is, look, it's the reason I came on here, man. Kick Clips is doing it different. A lot of people would call me crazy in my position to even come onto a channel that clips content, because that form of journalism is tough to do, because you have to be first out of the gate. But at the same time, it also means that you could miss a lot of nuance, right? There's no time to look for nuance because you need to be first out of the gate. What I notice about you, man, is that you tend to add the entirety of the clip. You also tend to focus on not only the negative, but you also focus on the positive. And 9 times out of 10, the negative that you concentrate on, we can work with. Meaning, like something like Convy, who was watching a guy like Gypsy Crusader, who has very toxic content. You
Yeah.
clipped that, and we noticed that, and we were like, "What is this? Right? What is going on?" And we took action. Right? We took action. So I do think that for me, I want to start to develop a relationship with guys like you, with entities like you, to say, look, we don't always get it right, but at the same time, like, you're an amazing resource, you and your community, of highlighting the good, but then also spotlighting the stuff that we can do better. And so that's what I appreciate. I think that I did notice after my broadcast the other day that there was a clipped of me just rattling off platforms that are kind of, that kind of do that. I think your, kick clips in a generic way was mentioned. I was rattling off things like YouTube clips and TikTok
Mm.
clips and
Mm.
and Twitch clips. At no way I want to make this completely clear to your audience that no way was I singling you out. It really was just a broad stroke, generic call out that I regret because I don't want people to think that I see you doing it that way. Quite the opposite, and it's why I'm on here.
I mean, basically, if you need to understand what I do that's different than the other people, I'm always trying to create highlights. Highlights is not the same thing. Like, I'm trying to find, let's say Fusi does a stream today. I'll pull maybe 6 different moments and then put that into one YouTube video. So like I'm trying to highlight all the things that happen, not just one piece. I get what you're saying. Some people on Twitter, they put out like a 10-second clip and it's to destroy somebody. Like that's not what I'm doing. Like I'm trying to focus on both sides of the spectrum. So like I took it like news, like real news pretty much. You have to take both sides. You can't just take one side of any story. So and yeah, and sometimes some crazy things happen that goes under the radar. Like that Convi clip, if you check all the people on Twitter that do clips, no one else posted it. 'Cause it just went completely under. Okay, let's switch to Bruce Dropemoff. What's your thoughts on Dropemoff leaving, or not leaving, he still has his Kick channel, but he went to Twitch and then he talked about Kick, and some of his viewers said that like he doesn't want to come back to Kick. Like, what's your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I mean, you can come back to kick. As far as like negotiations and contracts, like I am done with that part of kick. I help bring that sector up. In my first 3, 4, 5 months at kick. There is that department is well in hand right now. As far as like my personal opinion, like I enjoyed Bruce. You know, quality streamer. I don't know what happened at Twitch or other platforms, but to my knowledge, it was not a terrible split where he couldn't come back to kick. To my knowledge, but as far as like him as a person and as a performer, like um, no ill will towards him. I think it just for whatever reason it just didn't work out with us and our department. And whether he comes back, man, like I mean, hell, there's all kinds of routes on shit. Me personally, I would just stream on Kick for the sub splits. I mean, it's still bonkers to me that people are making you know 10,000 subs a month on other platforms and literally just giving 30, 40, 50% of their subs away. So if I was Bruce, I would just come back to Kick for the splits alone, and then also just no commercials, and also just you know I think Bruce could be an adult here, and I think that's another difference about Kick is that you can act your age here, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. At least it's not that hardcore with speech, as per se. Then we move to Aiden Ross. Why do you think he's not streaming? Turak is in my chat. He also asks me that all the time.
I don't know. Maybe he's just taking a mental break. I can't say why. What I can say is that he's a dedicated talent here on Kick. I mean, Train took a break. Um, let's not forget that Train took a break. Um, Everyone takes a break, and you got to take a break, man.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing it at that high level. I mean, sometimes I even have to. That's why I live out in the middle of nowhere, man. Because when I unplug, I friggin' unplug, man. I'm off the grid, and if you're in this matrix for too long, man, like it becomes an echo chamber, and you have to unplug to refresh, to recharge, re-energize, get the creativity going again, and then come back in swinging.
What do you think about those YouTubers that make videos on Kick streamers? Like, why do you think they're doing it? Like Penguin Zero, Mutaha, Umpaville, for example.
Um, I think Kick is up and coming. I think it's alarming to people that how fast our growth is. It isn't so much that it still boggles my mind that we're in the same conversation as, like, let's say a Twitch, right? And it also boggles my mind that Twitch is in the same conversation as like a YouTube. If you really look at the numbers, like those platforms are exponentially bigger. All right. So why am I saying all that? What makes Kick different is that the exponential growth month over month, whether it's moving into other markets like Latin America or Turkey or France or, certainly the English speaking regions, what everyone is taking notice of is the percentage of growth month over month. And not only just in viewerships, but in channels going up, in hours watched. Like, those are stats that are solidly climbing. And I think that people pay attention to that, right? Also, there is a lot of politicking that goes on with these things, which is, look, we've had a lot of people who spoke ill of Kick and ended up coming over to Kick, and seeing it for themselves. I think that those commentaries would be more well-rounded, kind of going back to my comment about, like, people who do like drama clicking, or drama clipping. You just have to come over here and see for yourself. I think getting hyper focused on 4 or 5 individuals that are doing things, and not realizing that there's 6,000 people that go live on this platform every day that are doing beautiful, amazing talent. And not to mention, when those things get called out, we detect those things and we remove them. Let me repeat that.
Mm.
Like, when Moist or Loopaville or hell, even something about chickens, call something out, we move on it. We move on it swiftly, and we move on it fast. We don't wait 3 years to fix the problem. We remove it. And it's the same thing with you, to bring it full circle. That clip that you had of Gypsy Crusader, we moved on it fast. We moved on it hella fast. So I think that that's why people do content on Kick, because we're the new kid on the block. We're up and coming. Kick is doing it differently, and I mean, not to show my age, man, like, Elvis got escorted off of a stage because he was shaking his hips a little too much, right? MTV was labeled as smut television when it first hit the airwaves. I could go on and on. Fox Cable Network, when they started airing The Simpsons, was going through the same kind of evolution that we are. Any platform that is doing it differently and doing it well, is going to have a massive target on their back. And those are just a few examples of media companies and entertainers in history that did it differently, and were attacked for it.
So now I'm asking you a pretty crazy question, right? You know about Dr. Disrespect, right? He's got so many allegations on him. He's taken a break from streaming. As of today, YouTube even turned off his memberships. So like what I'm trying to say to you is that all his partnerships and all his revenue is being switched off one by one as days go. And this is my crazy question. With the bad press he's getting now, right? Would Kick ever sign Dr. Disrespect?
That is not, that's like a fantasy question. We're not into that content. Uh, he does not broadcast here. That is we got nothing to do with that, and we want nothing to do with it. So I want to be as clear as day. Like, we don't mess with that content. We have removed that content. We have gone in that direction of removing that content.
I mean,
So
that's good.
look, I
That's
understand.
good.
I understand the question. I want to make this clear. I understand the question, but it's just not a fact. He does not broadcast here. He never has. Um, we have zero. If there's any platform, Kick Clips, if there's any platform, we have zero association with him. We have
No, that's
zero
good.
association with him.
No, what
We
I'm
have
saying is
zero.
it's good. it's good that you guys are looking at everyone's background before choosing them to be on your platform. I'm trying to say this. Like you know what allegations are on there, so like Kick doesn't want anything to do with that. So I'm trying to say this. It's kind of good. It's kind of good. That's a change. People complain about Heel Mike and Zerka for that reason. They say that he was making content, so he was getting a lot of views, but at the same time, he was doing some crazy things on the platform. But like hearing your answer now, it means that you guys are looking at each streamer, like who they actually are as well. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, look at our track record, man. From everyone from Riot LOL to Derek Graz to Heel Mike to Zerka. We take action. It's just we do. Um, so yeah, man. I definitely appreciate the question, and it's a hot topic question, but I just want to double down and say, like, I don't want that headline to get misconstrued because it's easy to do, but I'm trying to make it emphatic. Like, it's not our problem. That is something that we do not tolerate, and that you know, just that is the people who do business with him problem. We're just not on that roster.
I get you. Then let's switch to botting. Now, there's so many different websites that get attacked with bots. Either people like, I want to become famous tonight, so let me give myself a million viewers, or hate botting takes place. So I got two-pronged question for you here. I have seen this with some creators that I know personally are not botting. Like these are very small creators, like 50 view creators. I talk to them every day. But one day they will be attacked by somebody who's like bombing them with like 4,000 viewers at a time. This guy, Louis X just came back and he's already being bombed with view bots. Now, what can Kick do to help him?
Well, I think for me personally, and what we got to do is we just got to get the website stable. Whether that is launching version 2 or getting more stable UI. As we build, we also have to bring on a more third party extensions to help out. Places like Streamlabs and Stream Elements that we have strong relationships with. So we are evolving. We are making efforts in those strides. These are just the growing pains as we grow. And again, those same people that you have making videos about Kick, you have those same people on the tech side attacking Kick, and we know that, right? Again, we're growing exponentially, and as far as like Louis X, I think he was, he's I don't want to say he's high profile, but
Mm.
he placed himself in the media with Kick before, so I've been targeted. Listen, I've been targeted plenty of times when I go up on stream. But we are well aware of the botting, and we aim to do something about it. I'm not going to get into detail about how we're evolving with that
Okay,
because
yeah,
it's always a chess match with those things.
I get you.
But hey, Kick Clips, I got like 3 more minutes just to give you a heads up.
Okay, so pretty much one last big question. Okay, again, it's gotta be a big question. It can't be a happy question. Okay, so a lot of people complain and say that Kick is a website that promotes gambling. Now, I'll show why they say this, okay? People say this because when they watch Neon, Action Man, or even Aiden Ross, the streams usually go like this. It starts off with IRL content, a little bit of clips, a little bit of playing games, and then at the end of that stream, they do like 1 to 2 hours of stake. So the people's complaint is that there's still kids watching that and then they influenced to get into gambling. What would you like in your opinion, just your opinion, what would you say to that, to those people?
Um, I don't work for Stake. I work strictly for Kick, and any talent that's ever worked with me knows that I don't broker stake deals. What I would say is that these guys produce the content that they want. And if they're gambling, they're gambling. It's no different than if they decided to play Fortnite or do some other type of content. That's just the content that they choose to do. Um, so yeah, that's their stream. I mean, I can't control what they do with their stream. And I guess my point is that you describe grown adults who produce the content that they want to produce.
So it's up to them pretty much to explain to their audiences. You think like, okay, now guys, you leave, only the adults stay here on stream because we're gonna be gambling
Well,
now.
let me did I feed you questions to give me?
No.
Did you preempt these questions with me before I came on?
No.
Did I ask you to have purple hair in your avatar?
Don't worry, the purple hair, I get roasted for it every single day. Every single day.
Do you see where I'm getting at? You're a grown ass person who does what they want on their channel.
I get you. I mean, I also think
Hey
that my,
man,
my
y-
response to it
no, go ahead.
was pretty much uh, people have to act responsibly with their children. This was my response pretty much. People have to act responsibly with their children and teach them like, okay, this you can do this. This is of age. You can't do this. Like consent, And nowadays world, there's gambling in many different places, and you got to be like really careful. Like for example, loot boxes, microtransactions. It's everywhere. Like so you just it's more along the lines of like if I'm the parent, I would be more concentrated on it. But I want to say thank you so much for coming here and talking to us. I know you had such a short time, guys. Even me, I had some internet issues before even getting here. But the man came here and he answered most of the questions, hard-hitting ones. I'll give you props for that. Like I had like maybe 20 soft ones, 20 hard ones, but I just went straight hard all the way through. And you did really nice. So yeah, I want to thank you so much, Andrew, for coming here and talking to me.
Yeah, man. I want to keep this relationship going. I want to thank you for having me on here. You know, uh, everything aside, man. Like I know that from an entertainment perspective, this is great. But I also want to say that from a technology perspective and what we're building in the entertainment space, people that produce content such as yours have a place in this. And I think that working with folks like you and creators and developers and just the entire ecosystem within live streaming can really push um, this space into heights that we've never even thought of, right? And we don't have Big Brother holding us back. So my whole point in saying all that is that I want to keep this relationship going with you. And if you'll have me again, I'm more than happy to coordinate that.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Because you see, we couldn't ask the chat's questions today, and it's not only like like I've got some other questions that I wanted to ask you about, like you could also give people advice, like how to grow channels, because you've been in this space for such a long time, tips and tricks, like even tips and tricks, like no one's done this though, but tips and tricks of working on a YouTube or a Kick channel. Because you work in Kick, you know what works, what doesn't work, things like this. Other stuff, I'm thinking of other stuff as well, not just only news, but like guides. I'm also thinking of this as well for streamers as well. Okay. But with that,
Yeah,
I
man.
will
Happy
see
to.
you. Thank you so much, chat. You can say bye to Andrew. I'm so happy you came,
Thanks,
dude.
chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it, y'all.
Okay, guys. I know it was short. I know it was short, but it was amazing.